Okay, so you're looking at your homework assignment and you sent it to print, and for some reason your Chromebook won't connect to the printer, or your printer is printing really streaky, or you don't have a printer, or you are at somebody else's house and you can't connect to their printer. I don't know, for whatever reason you can't print this off, or maybe you just don't want to print it, which is totally valid. You can still complete your homework without printing off this paper. However, you need to do it in the way I tell you to, because, not because I'm gonna be like, oh no, you didn't put 1 before 2 or whatever, but because it's gonna be easier for you to check your work, it's gonna be easier for me to know what work is yours, and it's going to be just better to help you out in general. So, here's how you do it. You still need to identify what homework assignment this is. Please do not write math at the top. Write the actual title of the assignment. This one is 1.2a, 1 and 2 step equations. So here we go. I have a lined piece of paper. I recommend you use one of these. Yes, you could use other pieces of paper, but the lined helps you organize it better so that you don't lose track of your work. So 1.2a, 1 and 2 step equations. I'm going to write that at the very top. Bam, title. Also put your name at the top. You don't have to put like your period or the date or anything. Just a name is good. My first name is Cassie, and Job, first and last. Don't put just your first name, because I've had 2 Jameses in one class, and then I don't know who's who. All right, then we're going to copy down the first problem. All your numbers go in front of this red line. Don't move them in as you go on throughout your work, because then it's really hard to read, or move some in and then some back out. All the numbers go in front of the red line. That way you can keep track of what's going on better. Okay, so our problem says a minus 4 equals negative 10. This is very important. Do not just write down the answer. If it says show your work, you gotta write the actual problem down. And I feel like this actually helps me think about the math. So I even did this in college when I didn't have to do it. I always copy down the question. Then you show your work. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. You know, this isn't an actual how to do your math video, but I got a equals negative 6. Now, if you have like a lot of work and it's hard to read, I would box your answer. If you had like 2 steps like this, you could leave it unboxed, and that's totally fine. Now, next problem, number 2, still going on the red line. Write the 2 in front of the red line. I like to give myself like a little space so that I can tell where this one is. And we have 5.6v equals 7. 5.6v equals 7. And then you show your work again. So I have one that I've actually already completed. Well, I got to 11 questions before I decided to move on to something else. So I went on in numerical order down the way. Now let's say you got to like number 12 and you didn't know how to do number 12. Like number 12 is really long or something. See how it took me like 5 lines to do this? I'd probably give myself like 8, leave a space, skip to number 13, be like, okay, I'll come back to number 12. Now, if you have really, really long problems, this is why I recommend that you do it this way. Some people like to make boxes ahead of time. Here's the problem. What if it takes you a lot of room? Don't make a box. Just make sure that you have a good starting point, do whatever work you need to do, and then move on to the next one. If you notice that they've all stayed like within half the page, then you can draw a line with a ruler or a piece of paper, and then you can make another column on the other side. If it takes you the whole line, that's okay. FYI, paper is really cheap, and it's not that big of a deal to take 2 pieces of paper than 1. You're not killing an additional tree, I promise. So let's review. When you're copying down on a sheet of paper, you need a title. You need the title. And you need it at the top, above the very topmost blue line. then you need to number all of your problems. And those numbers go in front of the red line. If you decide to make another column, then they go right next to the new line. Not too bad, right? You should show your work the way you show your work. If there's like a lot of work going on, box your answer. Otherwise, you don't totally need to. And always make sure your name is at the top. When I'm done with this page, I'll flip to the other one and restart writing numbers. Let's say this is 15, right there. Okay, guys, you do not have to print anything for this class. So if you have a reason why you're not doing your math homework, that's not the reason. Maybe you need help, maybe you forgot, maybe you watched Netflix, but do not have to print in anything. Thank you and happy mathing.